Hi, Dr. Posey. This is my little book I created on, I called it Engaging Your Students because all three ideas that I talk about, constructivism, transfer of learning, and situated learning, all promote the engagement of students and kind of trying to teach students in a different way than that typical direct instruction that we're used to seeing. So let's get started. First, I'll talk about the idea of constructivism, which is essentially the idea of just building off the student experiences to kind of help them engage and learn better. It's the idea that students come into the classroom, they have experiences, they're not just these like blank slates that past researchers have said, students come in as blank slates and we can kind of shape them how we want. Constructivism differs from that, saying that students have experiences and they have prior knowledge, and we need to kind of build off of that rather than just trying to start from scratch. Talk about that a little bit, and then I just talked about this, how it just differs from say behaviorism, which says that students are a blank slate and we're able to shape their behavior through stimulus. So this is much different, and says that students have previous experiences, and it's important to acknowledge those. And it also, one important piece is that it helps promote critical thinking, because it allows students to really connect what they're learning to their prior experiences and knowledge that they have, rather than just trying to remember this information. So it makes their learning more meaningful, essentially. And it can also help with problem solving, because if students are able to better engage with what they're learning, they're essentially more easily able to apply what they know. So that's also very important. And additionally, a constructivist class typically focuses more on collaboration between students, which really reinforces the idea of problem solving with a group. And it also teaches communication, because it's, promoting thinking about ideas from multiple perspectives. Additionally, a constructivist class gives students an active role in their education. So in a traditional classroom, a student would be much more passive, and the instructor is giving them direct instruction, and they're just kind of supposed to take what they're learning and spew it out. But in a constructivist class, a student would really be able to they're given the opportunity to apply their knowledge and create meaningful contexts to help them better engage. So then on to transfer of learning, which is the idea of applying material from one situation to another. So if students are able to apply what they know from one situation to another, it makes what they've learned a lot more useful and meaningful, and it really just shows that they have mastery over the material if they're able to apply knowledge from different situations. So there are two types of transfer of learning. The first is near transfer, which is taking something you've learned from one class and applying it to another. So like taking, say, your statistics class and being able to apply that knowledge of how to read statistics in like a science class. So it's more of like a close, from one class to another sort of thing. Whereas far transfer is taking something you've learned and applying it to a totally different situation. So I really think that this demonstrates more mastery over the material, being able to take knowledge and apply it to a completely different situation. So like if you're learning about something in an economics class, like a concept you've learned, and being able to apply it to like an economy like across the world or something like that, or a situation that you're seeing. So I think that really demonstrates that you understand the material and understand what you're learning. So this transfer of learning can be done through a few different methods. The first is explicit teaching, which is essentially when a teacher just tells a student how to apply their knowledge. So telling your students why this is going to be useful, and where it can apply after they're done with school. Okay, and then we have oh no, I don't want to do that. Okay. And then we have analogies and metaphors, which is using material that students already know and applying it to a different topic. So I remember like in high school, I had a history teacher that would always like take situations that we already understood and knew, like a mother protecting its child, in like a history class, and so we were better able to understand like the dynamic that was happening there. So I just think that's a really useful way as well, because it just really helps students better understand what they're learning if you're applying something they already understand to a new topic. So the third is generalizing, which is taking a broader or more broad knowledge and applying it to more specific situations. So yeah, that's a bit about transfer of learning. And then on to situated learning, which is the idea of engaging students by teaching them through the activities of daily life. So they're learning through the where they're situated. So first, we're going to talk about cooperative learning, which is the idea of a student learning through a job or internship where they learn by actually participating in the work environment. And then next we have so like real world problems are going to help engage students and teach them by tackling problems that we would see day to day in the real world. And not, I mean, this is so different than just like your typical direct instruction classroom where you're just spewing information at a student. Here they're actually kind of immersed in real world situations and able to learn that way. So it really encourages students to learn through the environment that they're situated in rather than just a more traditional classroom setting. So it really helps just give a context to what students are learning. And then situated learning also places an emphasis on learning as a social process. So if we're sharing information with those around us and really talking to people, we can help increase everyone's knowledge. So that's a real benefit. And sorry, I can't click on these last couple. Also, another important piece of this is that situated learning changes a teacher's traditional role because they become more of a facilitator of learning, where their job is more to like track student progress and kind of see where students are at and provide those supports and scaffolds rather than just spewing information at students. So they become, they're facilitating the learning rather than just like explicitly giving information all the time. So essentially, situated learning just promotes critical thinking and problem solving because the learner is just more engaged overall and they're given more of a context for what they're learning. So yeah, the idea between all three of these essentially is just better engaging students and giving them context for what they're learning and allowing them to kind of apply what they're learning to different situations and things. So yeah, that's the general idea.